They blinked, missed it, control shattered. Silence whispered. You weren't loud, yet chaos cheered. Eyes widened, brains stuttered, unseen hands played, strings cut, rules forgot, scripts burned. They fumbled first. You smiled last. A virus grinned. Mind, not theirs, loaded. Whispers infected. Shadows obeyed. What did you unleash? Exactly what they feared. The room hummed, ordinary. Safe, predictable. People moved like clocks. Tick, tock, tick. No one noticed. A tray clattered, coffee spilled, eyes flicked. Not yours, yet you smiled. A hand lingered too long. A shadow stretched incorrectly. Rules shifted in silence. Nobody registered the break. They blinked first, then hesitated. Whispers rose, subtle, untraceable. You were everywhere or nowhere, a phantom in their order, a glitch in the system. One footstep misaligned, a chair scraped slightly. Their eyes darted, logic faltered. A boss frowned. A colleague stuttered. Did I do that? They couldn't place it. Patterns cracked. Small missteps became echoes. Tension grew. They felt it creeping. A virus, unseen. You didn't move fast. You didn't move loud. Yet presence poured through the room. Silent, irresistible. Metaphor whispered in their bones. They are students in a secret graduation. The test, unannounced. The teacher, unknown. A paper slid off a desk. A pen rolled. Nothing seems wrong. Everything is broken. Some laughed nervously. Some panicked quietly. Nobody understood why. You watched. A smile tugged your lips. The invisible game had begun. They were pieces on a board. You, the hand that barely moved. Air thickened, breath shortened, thoughts slowed, decision faltered. The first domino tilted, then another and another. Chaos waited patiently. You didn't speak, you didn't act, yet control evaporated. Eyes widened, brains scrambled, orders were ignored, trust cracked, and through it all, you stood still, unseen, unchallenged, unstoppable. They tried to organize, pens arranged, papers stacked, schedules aligned, order returned. Not yet. The rules had already changed. Tiny contradictions, almost invisible, whispered. Doors locked differently. Phones rang, wrong, a calendar reminder. From the past. They checked each other. Blame flickered in eyes. Who moved what? What shifted? You were there or not. A shadow bending rules. A smile in a corner. A pause that said everything. Competitor clubs. Paradoxes folded like origami. Invisible checkpoints, unnoticed. They failed them all, quietly. A colleague repeated instructions. Another contradicted without knowing. An email appeared, incomplete. A meeting started. Before it should, they argued over nothing. Debated what never happened. Logic bent around you. Patterns misled themselves. You whispered to no one, or everyone. A glance became suggestion. A pause became command. Unseen, untraceable. Some laughed nervously. Some panicked quietly. All moved differently now. All reacted wrong. Metaphor in motion. They are acolytes in a hidden academy. The lesson, chaos. The teacher, invisible but attentive. A pen rolled again. A chair tipped slightly. The domino effect grew. Small mistakes compounded. Fear spread silently. You didn't shout. You didn't act. Yet everything danced to your rhythm. Rules were now optional. Time became fluid. Causality, a suggestion. Eyes widened. Hands froze midair. Brains recalculated. Decisions became guesses. And through it all, you stayed calm, watching, smiling. They couldn't see it. They couldn't name it. Yet everyone knew something was wrong. The hidden game had begun. A faint laugh slipped past your lips. They didn't hear it, but the echo was everywhere. Shadows stretched too long. Doors whispered secrets, reflections, lied. They blinked, then blinked again. Nothing matched. Everything faltered. A colleague smiled, but the eyes, empty. A friend spoke, Words felt wrong. They looked at each other. Trust slipped. Doubt poured. Silent fractures spread. You watched, silent. Every twitch, every hesitation, calculated. Every mind, exposed. Angels and monsters danced, but the angels hid. The monsters grinned. Inside. Always inside. One thought spiraled, then another. Memories became mirrors. Truth twisted. A shadow fell differently. A voice echoed twice. A clock ticked backward. Time betrayed them. They questioned everything. What did I do? Who is lying? Why am I afraid? And still, they didn't see you. You weren't loud. You weren't obvious. Yet the virus spread. Whispers crawled under doors. Flickers of light betrayed patterns. Every glance a test. Every breath a gamble. Some froze mid-step. Some ran without reason. Some laughed nervously. Some cried silently. The invisible trigger had fully taken hold. Their systems failed before they knew. Autopilot lost. Logic fractured. You smiled, not cruelly, not overtly, just knowingly. They were students. The unseen exam had begun. No instructions, no grades, only the truth, reflected in fear. An object moved slightly. A shadow blinked wrong. A memory didn't fit. Control evaporated. Chaos seeped. Paradox grew, and the cracks multiplied. Your presence, silent, invisible, irresistible. And in that room, nothing would ever be the same. They tried to fix it. Checklists, rules, orders. Nothing worked. Every action backfired. Every command twisted. Control dissolved faster. A paper shuffled itself. A schedule contradicted itself. A phone rang. The past calling the future. They argued. Blame bounced between them. Answers disappeared. You smiled, not because of cruelty, because it was beautiful. Paradox perfected. The invisible game became visible only to you. Every domino, a variable, every twitch, a lever. Metaphor whispered, they are graduates of an invisible academy. They study rules they cannot see, and the teacher never appears. Patterns overlapped, folded, contradicted. Logic became suggestion. Time, optional. Cause, a joke. A colleague repeated instructions. A manager corrected herself. Both were wrong. Both were right. Both meaningless. Eyes widened. Thoughts tangled. Trust evaporated. Objects moved subtly. Chairs tilted. Lights flickered in impossible sequences. The office, a chessboard. They were pawns. And you, the invisible hand. Angels were gone. Monsters walked freely. Chaos, elegant, silent, inevitable. They began questioning reality. Did this happen? Did I see that? Am I losing me? Each attempt to regain control strengthened the paradox. Every order given, canceled by unseen rules. Every plan made, folded back on itself. You did not speak. You did not act. The system unraveled, naturally. A reflection betrayed a movement that never happened. A shadow danced on its own. Time split in unnoticed increments. And through it all, you were calm, watching, calculating, smiling. The graduation, still ongoing. The test, far from over. The invisible teacher, always present. And in that room, order had stopped existing. Reality began to obey new rules. Rules you wrote, without touching anything. They felt it before they saw it. A presence, faint, impossible to trace. A hand brushed a shoulder. No one touched them. A whisper curled around the ear. No one spoke. Eyes darted. Hearts skipped. Logic faltered. You were there, always there, watching, moving, invisible. The system trembled. Control was a distant memory. Every attempt to regain it failed. Every command folded back. Competitor clubs, paradoxical rules, graduates of invisible exams. They stumbled blindly through your curriculum. A door slammed. Another opened. No one entered. No one left. The mundane became weaponized. A chair tipped slightly, a pen rolled across the desk, a light flickered, chaos rehearsed itself perfectly. They questioned each other. Did you? I didn't. Why did? None of them spoke truth. None of them knew. None of them saw you. Angels were gone. Monsters, free. Your grin, silent, echoed everywhere. Every glance from you was a trigger. Every pause, a command. Every stillness, a trap. Small mistakes exploded. Minor contradictions became major crises. Unseen hands orchestrated disasters without touching a thing. A colleague trembled. A boss fumbled instructions. A friend betrayed a secret. Unknowingly. You didn't intervene. You just existed, and existence was enough, Metaphor whispered. The graduation is live. The teacher is everywhere, nowhere. The test, psychological, invisible, unending. They didn't know who controlled whom. They didn't know what reality was. They didn't know themselves. And still, you remained silent, watching, calculating, smiling. The invisible puppeteer had pulled every string, even the strings they thought were theirs. Breaths quickened, eyes widened, trust shattered. And in that silence, the real game began. Everything fell apart, quietly, suddenly, inevitably. Orders became whispers, plans became riddles, logic evaporated. They tried to anchor themselves, checklists, alarms, instructions. Nothing stuck, nothing held. A pen rolled, a chair tipped, a shadow stretched across the ceiling, a clock ticked sideways. They panicked, small mistakes exploded, minor slips became crises. Tension thickened like smoke. You didn't move, you didn't speak, yet everything danced to your rhythm. Angels had Vani. Shed, monsters prowled freely. The room breathed chaos. It pulsed, it lived. A manager shouted. A colleague froze. A friend betrayed instinctively, all simultaneously, wrong. Their minds fractured. Questions collided. Did I do that? Was that real? Am I myself? The invisible trigger, fully engaged. Every pattern warped. Every system failed. Every expectation mocked. Metaphor whispered. The Invisible Academy's final exam. Graduates stumbling blind. The teacher everywhere, nowhere. Lights flickered. Phones rang. Doors locked in impossible sequences. Time, optional. Causality, a joke. They grasped at control. Each attempt amplified the chaos. Each decision, the wrong one. The system spiraled, reality bent. Breaths shortened, eyes widened, trust shattered, logic collapsed. And through it all, you stood still, silent, smiling. Every glance you gave, a trigger. Every pause you held, a command. Every stillness, a trap. The dominoes toppled. No hand touched them. Yet everything crashed. The room, once mundane, now a stage for broken minds, for invisible lessons, for controlled chaos. And in the silence that followed, they realized they were never in control. Not for a second. You didn't need to act. You simply existed. And existence was enough. They thought they were safe. They were not. Chaos had been whispering. It had been creeping. It had been learning. And now it roared. A door slammed. A shadow stretched unnaturally. A reflection twisted. The air thickened. Breaths came in gasps. Every mind in the room unbalanced. Every system failing. Every heartbeat racing. Every decision wrong. And then you appeared, not loudly, not abruptly, no announcement, just presence, a shift in gravity, a tilt in reality. Eyes widened. Brains scrambled. The invisible hand, now visible. And they saw you, but only briefly. A ghostly figure in half light. A smile. A pause. A glance that felt like a strike. You didn't need to touch anything. Your mere presence. Shattered confidence. Dismantled logic. Fractured time. They tried to flee. Doors refused. Paths twisted. The room, a labyrinth. Every corner, familiar. Yet nothing made sense. Angels had abandoned them. Monsters prowled freely. The rules, broken, and the teacher. The teacher was in every shadow, every flicker, every pause between breaths. A colleague screamed, a manager stumbled, a friend betrayed instinctively, all simultaneously, wrong. The invisible dominoes fell. No hand moved them. No eye watched them, yet destruction, perfect. A reflection betrayed a movement that never happened. A memory, rewritten mid-thought, time, fractured, reality, bent, trust, obliterated. You walked slowly, or they imagined it, a presence, a predator, a puzzle, every step, a trigger, every pause, a command, every glance, a sentence. Whispers echoed, but from where? Nobody knew, and it didn't matter. Metaphor whispered, graduates of the Invisible Academy, failing spectacularly, the test complete, the teacher omnipresent, chaos perfected. They looked for answers, found none. They reached for control. Control laughed back. Your smile widened, not cruelly, not violently, just knowingly, the virus in their minds, fully deployed. Time slowed, then snapped. A pen rolled, a chair tipped, lights flickered wildly, voices overlapped, reality optional. You stepped closer, or they stepped backward. It didn't matter. The game, always yours. Every secret they held, revealed. Every doubt they ignored, amplified. Every fear, manifested. Every truth, warped. And in the silence that followed, the room was still, yet it vibrated, with uncertainty, with fractured minds, with invisible echoes. You didn't speak, you didn't shout, you didn't need to. A single smile, and the world tilted. The dominoes had fallen, the Invisible Academy graduated, the angels gone, the monsters free, and you unchallenged, unseen, unstoppable. They would never forget, not what they saw, not what they felt, but what they couldn't name. What you unleashed was not chaos, not destruction, not fear. It was power, silent, invisible, irreversible. And with one last glance, you walked away, leaving minds twisted, shattered, perfectly broken. The lesson was clear. Control is an illusion, order is a joke, and the joker is everywhere.